Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Shop Adventures, my weekly excursion where I leave the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ in search of my bounty of comics, graphic novels, collectibles, action figures, and all things in between. First things first, however, time to talk about what stood out from last week's bounty. And, well, first of all, the Green Lantern was awesome. I mean, I've kind of chastised it in the past. I've said that it's good, not great, and I love Grant Morrison as a writer, but this has just maybe not been a good book by Grant Morrison and a good Green Lantern book, but maybe not the best. This issue, however, is without question the best issue he's written so far. I've mentioned before that Morrison has a lot of respect for the past history of these characters, but on the flip side of things, it does take more than respect to write a good story. There's a lot of writers out there that have respect for the history, but it doesn't always translate into a great story or a great story arc. This particular issue showed respect to the past Green Lantern, Green Arrow team-ups and used that respect to write of the groundwork that was laid by Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams to write just a phenomenal issue. My only thing that makes me sad is it was kind of a one and done, because I don't think that Green Arrow will be coming back in the next issue, but just almost like a love letter to that famous story arc in Morrison. This is the Grant Morrison that I love right there. Just phenomenal story. Dead Man Logan was very good. I've been singing its praises for a long time now. Rocko's Modern Afterlife, it kind of picked back up. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where the last issue of this goes. And Justice League concluded the Mr. Mixia Spitlick story very well, and then it concluded that, and then went right into a prelude for the next big story arc with Lex, and very interested to see and Lex and Brainiac. I'm just interested to see where it all goes. So it was a lot of really good books from last week's bounty. Nothing was particularly bad, but just a lot of those. There was 4 that really stood out for me. But especially the Green Lantern. That's one of my favorite single issues of comic books I've read in a little while. So yeah, pretty awesome. But I will see you when I get back here to the homestead with this week's bounty. Hey everyone, I am back here at the homestead, right here at Athletic Geek HQ. Got a moderately sized bounty this week, but no Marvel books. So another one of those weeks where nothing from my pull list was from Marvel, but we do have some interesting titles here for this week's bounty, and let's get right to it. No Marvel, but we have an Image book with Prodigy number 6, the conclusion to Mark Millar's Prodigy miniseries. It's been a good little series. It's not been my favorite from Millar, but it's still been pretty decent, and I'm just curious to see how everything ends up. I think after I read this, I might read all 6 of them over again to see if maybe I'll pick up on some stuff and appreciate it, or maybe bump it up a little bit more as far as my opinion on it. It's not terrible, but there's just been certain Image books in the past where I've not really liked it, the first miniseries, and then I've reread it and been like, oh shit, that's awesome. So I'm thinking that might be the case with Prodigy. So, but it's still been a good series so far, and I will pick up almost anything written by Mark Millar, because much like Morrison and Snyder and Jeff Johns, and he's one of my favorite comic writers out there. So, Prodigy number 6. From there, speaking of Scott Snyder, we have The Batman Who Laughs, number 6. And, it's been a very, very dark but fun miniseries. It's just kind of like this, a Joker-esque Batman. Really, really liking it. It kind of almost like, it's the same team-up of Batman the Black Mirror, which was another really, really good Batman story by Scott Snyder and Jock. This was the Black Mirror was before he teamed up with Capullo, but he's got Jock doing the art on this, and it's very good. and I really enjoy it so far. And 2 issues left, and I'm looking forward to seeing how all the loose ends get tied up. The Batman Who Laughs, number 7. Speaking of Batman, just had two segues right there, just with how they stack the comics leaving the shop today. I have Batman Detective Comics number 1005. Peter Tomasi is knocking it out of the fucking park with his run so far and with the Arkham Knight story. I love it. It's the best Batman ongoing title out there right now. Straight up. That's not me trying to be an asshole to the writers. That's just me stating fact. This is Tomasi proving that while he's written good secondary titles, his Batman book right now needs to be the proper main Batman book. It's probably not going to get looked at like that, but I feel like that's how it needs to be, because his story right now, and this is not knocking, the up and down Tom King Batman around, which I've had praise and very much and some bad things to say about it too. This just to me is the best Batman book out there, and yeah, Peter Tomasi may be the most underrated writer in comics today. Batman Detective Comics 1005. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one. And a little something interesting here this week. I have Superman number 12. It kind of ended with the rest of the, some of the other Superman family, if you will, coming in to save, I don't know if really save or just kind of see what's going on with Superman. I guess you could say save the day. But I was not aware that it was tied into the Supergirl ongoing, so I got Supergirl number 31 too. My local comic shop was nice enough to pull this for me because it was it's a tie-in book. Normally I don't like that sort of thing. Actually, I'd say they're normally like, I don't like that sort of thing. I don't like crossing over too much, because a lot of times it makes you have to read comics you're not normally reading. But I kind of thought, well, this is one comic, this isn't a whole series, this isn't 3 other books. I can make one exception just to see how this all concludes, especially with, Superman or Supergirl and Superboy coming to Superman's aid at the end of the last issue. So yeah, I kind of sold out and picked that up, but yeah, Supergirl number 31 and Superman number 12. We'll see what happens. I feel better just with picking up one book than in some of the other crossovers where buy Justice League, buy Teen Titans, buy Harley Quinn, buy Batman, buy this, buy that, and then you gotta buy, if you're reading all those books, hey, it's great. But if you're having to buy 3 or 4 more books that you're not currently reading, or in the case where I've been somewhat critical, but I've also said I'll buy the trade paperback, in the case of War of the Realms in Marvel, you have to buy an entirely new ongoing series, and to me, I'm not really feeling that right now. Or I shouldn't say ongoing series, but just a whole nother series. It might be 5, 6, 7 books. I don't know. Just kind of... It felt easier paying $4 to tell, conclude one story than spending maybe potentially $40 or $50 or $25 to conclude one story. So that's my justification. There might be some people calling me a Superman or a super fanboy in the comment section below, and you have every right to do so, but I'm not. Just paying for one comic as opposed to several is a little bit easier for me. And from there we go to Hawkman number 13. I don't know. The last issue concluded the story arc. It's the beginning of a new story arc, and I've liked it, but we'll see if it can keep my attention and keep me wanting to read this book, because it's been good, not great, and with some other titles that are making their way onto my pull list, or that I'm going to want to start reading here in the very near future, it might be time to trim some fat, and hopefully this is not it, or we'll see if it is or not, I guess I should say. But yeah, Hawkman, a superhero that gets a lot of flack, but You know, when written well, it's a really, really good character with a good mythos. And I feel like Vendetti has divulged into that mythos a little bit and wrote some good issues of his run so far. But some other ones are just kind of hard to hold my attention. And, you know, when it comes time to trim the fat, you know, if you can't hold my attention, that might get you trimmed. But we'll see how it plays out. Hawkman, number 13. And finally, the final book of the bounty this week is The Flash, number 72, chapter 3 of The Flash Year 1 story arc that is beginning. I love the story arc so far, with Barry discovering his power, but somewhat dressing like a Golden Age Flash, meeting his old self, who's like dressing like a futuristic Flash, and it's just with the time travel that the Flash is known for, it makes for a very, very interesting Year 1 story to be told, and it's just been really well written, and I love it. It's a book that's always consistently good. It may not be one of my picks, but it's consistently a very good book. And yeah, I've loved the first 2 chapters. I'm hoping that the momentum continues with chapter 3. Flash, number 72. And that is it for me this week. Let me know what you got at your local comic shop in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and like to see others like it, please like, share, and subscribe. I have content not just from the world of comic books, but from the world of gaming, pro wrestling, and all things geek culture. For more content, please go like the Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89. There you will find every Thursday my Collection Comic of the Week blog that is exclusive to my Facebook page. But other than that, I'm out. Y'all be cool.